We're now live on YouTube.
Welcome members, officers and any members of the public watching to this extraordinary meeting of the Council. Members, as you are aware, we potentially have 3 extraordinary meetings this evening. It is my intention to start each meeting as soon as the previous one finishes, unless we have not reached the time that the meeting has been advertised to start, in which case we will take a very short break until we can start the meeting. Apologies for absence. Ms Willis, may I have any apologies for absence, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have not received any apologies.
Thank you. Agenda item 2, declaration of interest. Do any members have any disclosable pecuniary or non-pecuniary interest to declare in relation to the matters which are to be considered at this meeting? Agenda item 3, section 151, officer. I propose that the recommendations as set out on the agenda paper be adopted. Do I have a seconder?
Madam Mayor, I second that proposal.
Thank you. Do any members wish to speak on this item? Is that agreed, members? Show of hands, please. Okay. Thank you, members. That concludes the business of the first meeting. Members, as you know, a second extraordinary meeting will be held this evening. Or wait. Unfortunately, we'll have to wait 2 or 3 minutes before we can continue with the next meeting. Thank you, members. Members, we will now start the second extraordinary meeting of the Council this evening. You will be asked to review the decision taken at the council meeting on 22nd of July to defer consideration of a motion from Councillor Rodney Bates. I can advise that in accordance with Council Procedure Rule 16, I have received the required number of requests to review the decision the council made in July to defer the motion on unitary authorities. Ms Willis, may I please have any apologies for absence?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There are no apologies.
Thank you. Agenda item 2, declaration of interest. Do any members have any declarable pecuniary or non-pecuniary interest to declare in relation to the matters which are to be considered at this meeting? I'd like to ask the leader to introduce this item and move a motion.
Madam Mayor, I do have an interest that I should. I was waving my hand.
Sorry, we didn't notice, Councillor Deach. You have a declaration.
Well, a non-pecuniary interest, as the matter that we're discussing may relate to the Surrey County Council, of which I am a member.
And David and Councillor Mansfield and Councillor Morley.
That would be the same for me, duplicate.
And Councillor Hawkins.
I was going to declare it at the next item, but yes, I'll follow suit as a county councillor.
Thank you.
Charlotte. She's done it.
Charlotte Hassan. Councillor McClafferty, could you move your motion to introduce this item, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, we're all aware that things have moved on at a pace faster than we had expected. Therefore, I move that we rescind the decision of the Council at its meeting on the 22nd of July 2020 to defer consideration of the motion submitted by Councillor Bates on unitary authorities.
Thank you, Councillor McClafferty. Do you have a seconder?
Madam Mayor, I'm pleased to second that motion.
Do you? Thank you, Councillor Dugan. Do you or any other members wish to speak? Thank you, members. I would now like to move the vote on the proposal. Members, can you show your agreement to this proposal by raising your hands, please? Yeah, looks like yeah. Thank you. Members, I declare the motion carried. This concludes the business of the second meeting. Members, as you have agreed to rescind the council's decision, to defer consideration of the motion submitted by Councillor Bates on unitary authorities, we will now proceed to the third meeting to be held this evening to consider a motion. Go straight into this one. Okay. Members, we will now start the third extraordinary meeting of the council this evening. As the decision in the second meeting was agreed, this meeting will consider a motion from Councillor Rodney Bates on unitary authorities. Ms Willis, do I have any apologies for absence?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and there are no apologies.
Thank you, Ms Willis. Agenda item 2. Declaration of interest. Do any members have any declarable pecuniary or non-pecuniary interest to declare in relation to the matter which are to be considered at this meeting? Councillor Hawkins.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think this is the appropriate place to declare that I am a county councillor as well as a borough councillor. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Morley.
Likewise.
Thank you. Councillor Deach.
The same.
Councillor Mansfield.
Yeah, ditto.
Thank you. Members, in order to allow for a freer debate, I would like to move that Council Procedure Rules 14.6 relating to the restriction on councillors speaking more than once be suspended for the next item. Thank you, Councillor Bates. Do you have a seconder? Oh, okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to second that. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, are you in agreement with that proposal? Yeah, looks like it. Members, we will now resume debate on the motion from Councillor Bates as set out on the agenda, which has already been proposed and seconded at our meeting on the 2nd of July. Before I invite all members to speak, I've been advised that the Leader of the Council, on behalf of the 5 political group leaders, now wish to speak. Councillor McCafferty.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members, firstly, I would like to acknowledge the fact that all of my fellow political group leaders have worked on this amendment, and it is gratifying to see once again that we all share the common goal of serving the best interest of our residents. You have the amended motion before you, showing the changes, and I would like to briefly talk to the relevant points, starting with clause 2. As members will remember, there was extensive debate last time that while many are sceptical that a single unitary for Surrey is the optimal choice, it was sensible not to rule it out until we had facts that supported such a decision. As such, I believe the amendment now conveys our concern, but also allows this council to fully consider all options when the time comes. Clause 3, the amendment removes the words "not just within Surrey." All indications from Her Majesty's Government are that unitaries will only be formed within ceremonial county boundaries. But until that is formally confirmed, as the clause states, we will be approaching all of our neighbouring authorities, including those outside Surrey, in preparation for a possible change of heart by the government. Clause 4, the amendment reaffirms our fundamental belief that local councils, be they parish, town or other, must have democratic legitimacy. Clause 5, the County Council have publicly stated that their preferred option is for a single unitary for the whole of Surrey. I believe this council, quite rightly, wishes to keep its options open on behalf of our residents until we can make an informed decision by comparing the relative merits of all the options. The only way to ensure all options are fully and properly considered, therefore, is for the 11 boroughs and districts to collectively commission the production of a business plan for submission to the Secretary of State for his consideration. To that end, we must agree to set a budget of £35,000 as our anticipated share of the costs. In clause 6, having agreed the budget, we must delegate authority to the acting chief executive in consultation with the group leaders to agree the procurement and spending authorization for the joint business plan. In clause 7, it is of course right and proper that the final position we take will be decided by full council once we have all the relevant facts, including the borough and district and county council business plans prior to submission. And finally, clause 9, we believe that our 11 Surrey MPs will be influential in the Secretary of State's final decision. It is therefore prudent to add them to our distribution list. Madam Mayor, I move the amendment to the motion as laid out.
Thank you, Councillor McCafferty. Does any member wish to second Councillor McCafferty's amendment? Thank you, Councillor Malvaganam. Would any other member like to speak on the proposed amendment?
I think Councillor Malvaginam would like to speak.
So would Councillor Deitch.
Councillor Malvaginam.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I had a mute on. My apologies. Madam Mayor, thank you for this opportunity. I'd like to speak to my fellow councillors and to the residents who are listening in. This is once in a generation change. As a council, we should be fortunate that we are in a position to make a difference to our residents. The council, all the council within Surrey Borough Council itself, within Surrey, needs streamlining. So I welcome the unitary proposal, but totally oppose a single unitary. The proposal put forward, which we all know now, by the SCC, Surrey County Council, is for a single unitary. In my opinion, in the opinion of the Lib Dems, it's unworkable. It lacks democracy. In fact, if you think about it, they want to create a small country. Glad that all the council leaders have come together on this occasion and decided to oppose the single unitary and to put a proposal forward. And rightly, we actually have supported our council leader to go ahead with this plan. We have also reluctantly accepted we should look at all options, including the option of a single unitary. Having said that, we'll have to wait for the independent review to come to us. Our main concern are twofold. One is democracy. A single unitary does not provide that. Secondly, our residents. Our residents need to be looked after by the councils, all the councils in total. Having a large council, we take that away from our individual residents who actually contribute to literally to this whole process. I look forward to working with Councillor McLafferty to ensure that we get the right benefit and the right combination of the councils so that we could actually go forward as a combined joint council and ensure our residents are very well served. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Malvaginam. Would any other members like to speak on the proposed amendment? Councillor Deitch, then Councillor Galliford.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First of all, I would just like to congratulate all the group leaders on working together on this amendment. I can imagine it must have been very difficult to reach a consensus. You can see that in the wording of this very clearly. So thank you, certainly on behalf of the residents that I represent, to coming together and sorting that out. I just wanted to say that the wording on the fourth paragraph there does kind of contradict what it says in the first, in that all options will be explored. When in the first paragraph it says that it ideally should be in the region of 300,000 and 500,000. I just want to say that in the spirit of what it says there in point 4, all options should be considered. I do realise that some councillors and some groups feel that a single unitary can't work, but we need to see what is being offered first before we make any rash decisions. So once again, thank you to all the group leaders, and I'll look forward to seeing how this unitary situation develops. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Deitch. Councillor Galliford.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And thank you, Councillor Deitch, for thanking the group leaders. We have worked hard behind the scenes to get the wording right, etc. And I believe you are totally correct. One of the reasons that we left in clause 4 that all options must be left open is because we still don't have any final details from Surrey County Council itself. So until we have those, obviously we need to be open to what may be on the table from them as well. Regarding clause 4, my only slight hesitation with it is that I would like to see some sort of wording that we ensure that there's adequate funding to carry out statutory duties for the parish and any other type of councils that are set up, you know, presumably following this process. I think that's crucial. We as a borough know that in the last few years we have been deprived, shall I say, of central government funding, and yet more duties are placed upon us. And I think this is something that any parishes or town councils, district councils may well find themselves in that situation. So I just want to flag that up, that it is important that that is put in place.
Thank you, Councillor Gunford. Councillor Edward Hawkins, and then Councillor McLafferty.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Pardon me. Anybody who listened to the last debate will know that I'm more inclined to favour a single unitary. It is a fact of life that Surrey County Council currently provides some 80% of the services to the residents of Surrey. It is also a fact of life that I don't know about anybody else, but I haven't seen the white paper, nor have I seen a proposal from the county. And as a county councillor, we have not as yet had anything delivered to us, nor have we discussed it. So we don't actually know. All we've had really is half a page in the leaflet that came round from the county saying this is their vision, this is what the county are looking for. But that hasn't been approved by a county councillor. So let's make no bones about this. It has to get through that process. I think Councillor Galliford was actually moving, or Councillor Galliford and I, should we say, we're very much of the same position here. I mean, let's be quite clear. The Conservative manifesto before the last election talked about devolution. Devolution is bringing the control down to the residents. And the core principle of the proposals for unitary is to empower the people. That is to empower the parishes and new town councils. Basically, as set out in paragraph 4, as if this was a new deal. That is one of the core elements of what is being proposed. It is to enable the people to have a much greater say. Funding is a very, very fair point, and that is where Councillor Galliford and I are absolutely at EDM here. It has to be properly funded, but it is to bring down to the, actually to the people, by way of a parish and a town council, control of the local areas, i.e. the Localism Act finally coming home to rest, or to roost even. I have concerns about a number of the clauses here. Subparagraph 5, we talk about a budget of £35,000. My experience of management consultants is that doesn't even touch the sides when multiplied by 11. And I wanted to ensure and receive comfort that any further monies will not be made available without that coming back. I would like to say to the council, but that's unrealistic. I think coming back to the executive, and I think I would like to see the leader of the executive confirm that, because quite frankly, that is, I mean, certainly in business life, whenever I paid management consultants, it's £500,000 to open a file. They're actually worse than lawyers. I didn't say that in case there's any lawyers listening. Really, I am going to vote against this. There are some areas in this I agree with, and I think there are, well, I can live with, but I have a problem over a number of the clauses in here, and I will be voting against it. And if I may, Madam, I would like to have a named vote when we get to now. How we will deal with the sub clauses, I'm not sure, and that may be something that the Chief Executive will come to. But I would like to see a named vote here, because I think that this is premature. It's exactly what I said before. Until such a time as we see the white paper and we see the county proposal, then I urge us all to get together and discuss that proposal and look at that rationally and look and see how it empowers people to deal with the issues that matter to the people. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Hawkins. Councillor McLafferty.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If I may take Councillor Galliford's point first, I absolutely agree with the principle that they have to be funded correctly, as she raised. I will raise that with the other Surrey leaders during our discussions, and I would sincerely expect that to be addressed in the various business plans that were put forward. So I couldn't agree with Councillor Galliford more, and in fact with Councillor Hawkins. Taking Councillor Hawkins' point, you're absolutely right. I think there was an initial discussion about 10K. I purposely did not bring that to the council because I had a feeling, as you do, Councillor Hawkins, that that was a bit low. And I'm glad I didn't, because the eventual estimate is somewhere in the low 20s per council. And in discussions with my fellow group leaders, we decided to make the sum up to 35,000 so that we have some leeway if costs do increase. But of course, we're hoping not to spend that full amount. And secondly, I can absolutely confirm that if in the unlikely event that we are required to give more to the budget, then that would definitely come back to the executive and of course in consultation with the group leaders.
Thank you, Councillor McLafferty. Is there anybody else wishing to speak?
Yes, please, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Wheeler.
Thank you. I think I'd just like to raise a point, and I hope that I'm not breaking any confidences here. But I've been sent a timeline, which I understand has been shared with Surrey County Council councillors, which shows the business case for a single unitary being developed in August. By September, October, the business case coming to council at county and then being submitted to MHCLG. By autumn, the devolution and local recovery white paper being published. And then in March next year, a structural changes order laid and elections deferred. So I absolutely don't think that we can afford to wait a single second and not actually come forward with an alternative business case. To my mind, it makes no commercial sense whatsoever to consider a single option. And I hope that councillors are not being disingenuous when they imply that we should wait till the white paper in October, when by that point the business case from the county and will actually already have been presented to the MHCLG. So I absolutely will be supporting this, and the sooner we get on with it, the better, because otherwise we are going to be done unto without having a choice or representing those residents that have elected us. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Crowe, did you wish to speak? No.
Yes, please, Madam, if I can.
Thank you. Councillor Rise.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Sorry just for barging in. I wasn't sure if you could see me on your screen. I also want to thank the group leaders as well for working together to bring forward this motion. I think it shows great cross-party consensus, which is important for any form of reorganisation that we may be facing. And it's a part as the seconder of the original motion a month ago. I would have wished that we'd been able to achieve the point that we're at the moment a month ago, and it feels like we've now wasted a month almost in preparation, as Councillor Wheeler has just been speaking to. We can't really afford now to waste much more time. I do have a couple of questions for the leader of the council. Well, just one question mainly. It's in clause 4, whereas with the new amendment, it says that with an emphasis that any such local councils or other bodies must be democratically elected. And while I have complete support of that goal, and I think we're very lucky in Surrey Heath that our parish councils are elected, there are many parish councils across Surrey that aren't elected. We only need to look just into Guildford Borough Council, where Ash Council is not elected, and I don't believe they had enough members standing for election at the last election. So the question that I'm asking is, does this now tie our hands essentially on parish councils where they do important work? And I think that if we find ourselves in the future where we are struggling to find candidates for parish councils, that we need to ensure that the council still works and that co-opting of councillors is still a possibility. I would also just like to make a point regarding as a potential single Surrey-wide unitary authority. And I make no bones of my position that I think that is probably a bad idea for us to go forward as for the future of local government in Surrey. Surrey County Council is over the past 5 to 10 years, I think there have been a lot of concerns raised about how they have run services, and we only need to look at recent funding cuts to the fire service to show that maybe the Surrey County Council is not the best way forward. So if we are looking at a potential reorganisation of local government in Surrey, we should be looking at what is the best way forward for the future of local government, not just continuing a model of a county council as the only authority now in Surrey. I would like us to be a bit more ambitious and a bit more innovative in how we are looking forward to local government. No, but if just that point regarding parish councils, I'm sure it doesn't tie our hands. I would just kind of, if I could seek some assurances from the leader of the council that it doesn't, essentially.
So it's a bit loose.
Thank you, Councillor Rice. Councillor Tapper? Councillor Tapper, can Councillor McClaverty just come back on Councillor Rice's point?
Thank you, Councillor Rice. Thank you, Councillor Tapper. Yes, you're absolutely right. This doesn't tie our hands. What it does, as Councillor Hawkins and Councillor Gallagher have asserted, that we feel strongly, I think everyone feels strongly, that if there are any parish or town councils, or in fact any other, there are talk of other boards, etc., being put in place, then our strong view is that they should be democratically elected, which gives them legitimacy rather than appointed. It's a real shame, as you say, that at times people, groups, etc., parties sometimes have difficulty recruiting candidates or even getting independents to stand for parish or town councils. And I'm afraid, well, perhaps not Councillor Wheeler's group, but and I think that could be a problem. But the rules are that if parish councillors can't get elected, then they will be co-opted. My belief is that parish councils will become far, far more important once unitaries are actually in place. And the second point about, I know you didn't ask me about it, Councillor Rice, but I find that councils are a direct reflection of the quality of the councillors. Right? And we've got a lot of good councillors at county and a lot of good councillors across the boroughs. And my hope is that the best of the best get elected to the unitaries. And we do see that kind of innovation and drive that you're looking for.
Thank you, Councillor McClaverty. Councillor Tapper?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't know whether everybody has received this through their door recently. This has been published by Surrey County Council, and on page 3 there, they set out their message to all residents. I'll quickly read it to you. This vision is for one single council for Surrey. A council that can plan strategically for the whole county, whilst properly engaging and empowering those natural communities we identify with close to home. Now, we've talked about town and parish councils. Heatherside doesn't have a parish council or a town council. Does that mean that in order to engage with our natural communities, and Heatherside is most definitely a natural community, that a parish council is going to have to be created for Heatherside and new councillors elected to represent Heatherside on that parish council? Because there is no other way that you can engage with local communities close to home without that situation. Certainly, a council which is administering the entire county of Surrey, from the distant wilds of Kingston, or maybe even down in the depths of the county right close to the Sussex border. How could they possibly also encompass those communities on the far side of the county? So Surrey have already spent money selling their message to residents. I can't think that there is anything plainer there than what they've stated with regard to what their intention is, what their plan is. The only thing that they're looking at, Surrey is not looking at any other alternative. Now, may I just remind you, and it has been touched on previously, at 1.2 million residents, Surrey as a county would be larger than around 70 sovereign nations of the world. 70 countries, self-governing countries, would be smaller than Surrey. We do already have 56 unitary authorities. The largest one currently is Cornwall at 569,000 residents, which is just slightly larger than our highest ideal number as quoted in our resolution here and our motion. But it makes sense, obviously, for Cornwall for it to be that size. I contend that it makes no sense whatsoever for Surrey to have a council representing 1.2 million people. I most definitely will be voting in favour of this motion, and I hope we can put together a really good case to show that maybe 2 or 3 unitary authorities within Surrey would perform a far better job of representing the communities and keeping the focus on our local residents, which is what they want.
Thank you, Councillor Tapper. Councillor Edward Hawkins.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can I have, just go back to Councillor Wheeler's point? The first time that the Conservative group at County will be discussing the leaders' proposals as a group is on the 2nd of September. That's the first time that I'm aware of, unless other discussions have been held. And then there is a special council for the 29th of September when the draft business plan, I emphasize draft because it hasn't been approved until that stage. Councillor, can I then go on to what Councillor Tapper said? He's absolutely right. I mean, firstly, the leaflet he got, he was slightly quoting, there was a 4-page leaflet that came through regarding the keeping Surrey safe element of it. And 1/8 of that was making Surrey fit for the future. So it wasn't a leaflet setting out the county's or the leader's vision. That was 1/8 of a leaflet that was delivered regarding what the county had been dealing with, the really important issues of saving lives, dealing with people and keeping people safe. So yeah, it was in there, but it wasn't the main point of that leaflet. But he's absolutely right. And this is where I have been, any of my colleagues that listen to me, and I've been pushing, we have got to get the parish structure and the town council structure right. Until that is in place, and now it may require a boundary commission because some were like, you know, out in the parish areas that exist, they have a form of parishes. Is it right? Does it work? Could it be better? That's one thing. But what about Heatherside, Parkside, Town, Frimley, you know, all these other areas? How are they going to bring the areas? Or I'm looking at the leader on the right in St Michael's, you know, that important part of the town. How do we bring all of us as councillors, bring issues nearer to the residents? And Councillor Tapper is absolutely right. That has got to be resolved. And that is what I said. And that's why I was agreeing with Councillor Galliford. These are the really important issues. If we're going to have localism, let's get it functioning, a proper form of localism. Thank you for your perseverance, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Hawkins. I can see no further hands. Councillor Bates, would you like to exercise your right of reply?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. And just to confirm that in terms of the amendment that's been put tonight, I am willing to accept that into the main motion. I should say by doing so that there is, and I'm grateful for the comments made by Councillor Deach actually. The group leaders have had quite lengthy discussions regarding this. I can confirm that no group leader has got all the wording in that they wanted, including myself. I remain of the view that we should have resolved and voted on the matter 5 weeks ago. And I do agree with Councillor Rise in a personal capacity that we have wasted important and precious time because we didn't do so that night. However, I also recognise that we are where we are. And if a vote had been taken on that night, it may not necessarily have got through. The County Council's position is very clear. Councillor Hawkins appears to be the only person that doesn't understand that, but it is very clear. It's been publicised and Councillor Tapper has made that very clear. The leader of the council has repeatedly made it very clear indeed. And that's why we in essence need to discuss this and move this forward now. I do agree that we also need to allocate monies towards our own business plan. And I think that is a helpful addition to the motion as a whole. And I'm pleased that we are now doing this together along with all other boroughs. I'm also pleased to say that at this stage we are having a position where we are raising concern about the county proposal, but it is right, as the leader has correctly said, that we are also holding open the opportunity at a future date to support their proposals should the respective business plans show this clearly to be the correct approach. I have to say on a personal view, I would consider that to be an extremely unlikely situation, but nonetheless, I accept that that's what our motion will move forward in. I'm also accepting the amendment on the proposal, as the leader has indicated, I think, on 2 separate occasions, that we will also look at all neighbouring boroughs, not just Surrey. It is likely, as he says, that the government will insist on archaic county boundaries, but until they formally do so, we do have a duty to all of our residents to examine all of the opportunities both inside and outside Surrey. And I'm also very clear that supporting whatever unitary is decided, that there is a clear and properly funded network of town and parish councils to deal with these very local issues. And I completely agree with the comments made by Councillor Galliford and others in respect of that. It is essential that these are set up properly, including with adequate public funding, and most importantly, that they're democratically elected in their own right. They must not be appointed poodles of any larger institution, but have community champions in their own right and with their own mandate. So in summary, Madam Mayor, I am going to be accepting in this amendment, and I would encourage your members to support the motion as a whole. And I waive my right, therefore, if there are no further amendments, to give a concluding speech about the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Bates. I can now confirm that the motion as amended by Councillor McClafferty is the substantive motion. Do any members wish to comment on the substantive motion? Thank you, members. I would now like to move to the vote on the proposal. There was a request, but have we got?
I would, Madam Mayor, I would also like to join Councillor Hawkins' request for a named vote.
Thank you, Councillor Rice. Councillor Hawkins, anybody else? Councillor Bates, Councillor Mavaglam, yes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll now proceed to read out the names for a roll call vote. So if you could just confirm either for or against, that would be great. Thank you very much. So Councillor Dan Adams.
In favour.
Councillor Graham Alloway.
For.
Councillor Peter Barnett.
For.
Councillor Rodney Bates.
For.
Councillor Cliff Betton.
For.
Councillor Richard Brooks.
For.
Councillor Sarah Jane Croke.
For.
Councillor Vivian Chapman. Councillor Vivian Chapman.
She's frozen.
Councillor Paul Deach,
In favour.
Councillor Colin Dugan,
In favour.
Councillor Tim Fitzgerald,
In favour.
Councillor Sharon Galliford,
In favour.
Councillor Sean Garrett,
In favour.
Councillor Edward Hawkins,
Against.
Councillor Josephine Hawkins,
Against.
Councillor Rebecca Jennings Evans, Councillor Ben Leach,
In favour.
Councillor David Lewis,
For.
Councillor David Mansfield,
In favour.
Councillor Alan McClafferty,
In
favour.
Councillor Rebecca Jennings Evans.
Is that Jennings? Sorry, was that Councillor Rebecca Jennings Evans?
I've already put my vote in favour.
In favour, thank you. Councillor Alan McClafferty,
For.
Councillor Emma McGrath,
In favour.
Councillor Charlotte Morley,
In favour.
Councillor Sashi Malvaganam,
In favour.
Councillor Adrian Page,
For.
Councillor Robin Perry,
In favour.
Councillor Dowell Rataram,
For.
Councillor Morgan Rise,
For.
Councillor John Skipper,
For.
Councillor Graham Tapper,
In favour.
Councillor Pat Tedder,
In favour.
Councillor Victoria Wheeler,
In favour.
Councillor Helen Whitcroft,
In favour.
Councillor Valerie White,
In favour.
Councillor Christian Wren.
In favour.
Okay, and Councillor Vivian Chapman,
In favour.
thank you.
In favour.
That's carried. Do you want the numbers or just carried?
No, it's carried, it's fine.
Members, I declare the vote carried. That concludes the business for this evening. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Take care.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.